All right, now that we have laid the groundwork in the introduction, we said in this video we're going to lay another foundation when it comes to training these models. So usually to create a large language model is divided into two parts. So you have the pre-training phase and the fine-tuning phase, and this is how it looks like. So what you start off with your data, textual data, a bunch of text, and this text could be from the internet. Text that is there on the internet could be from books, could be Wikipedia, all of those sources that you can think of, Wikipedia, research articles, and all of that. And this is what is called raw unlabeled data. It doesn't have any labels. It's just Harry Potter books. It's just text. Harry Potter books, newspaper articles, Wikipedia articles, and all of that. We just want the text. We just want text that is written. That's all we want. It's raw, it's unlabeled, and it could have trillions of words. Trillions of words. Many, many words are in this raw unlabeled text. And then what we do is we then train the model, and we're going to see what we'll do, how that's going to work. We then train the model. After training the model, we'll come up with. I'm just going to put something to visualize. Let's say a model here. We then come up with something called a pre-trained LLM. So when you hear people say a pre-trained LLM or whatever it is just an LLM that has gone through this training phase. And this training phase, that's when we do the next word prediction. We'll do the next word prediction in this training phase. Next word prediction. Sorry, my pen. I think my pen is like losing shape or something. It's not writing properly. But yeah, we do the next word prediction then. And this pre-trained LLM, it can do text completion. So you give it a bunch of text, it will probably completion, right? That's a completion. Completion. Where am I putting an I? Completion. Didn't sound right. Didn't look right anyway. It can do text completion, and it has a few. It can do few short. There's some capabilities around few short capabilities. Of course, it can do text completion because it has been trained on next word prediction. So if you kick it off to say London is a city, it will probably text completed to say in the United Kingdom or whatever it is, because it is predicting next word. It has been trained to do that. But it's not very useful for certain things. It cannot follow instructions. So here it cannot follow instructions. If you try to tell it to do certain things, it cannot follow instructions well. It cannot really do classification well. And there, that is where the next phase comes in, which is then you train it again or you fine tune it. So here I can just write train because I want to differentiate it. You train it again by fine tuning it, and then it will start doing things like classification. That model will now be able to do classification, and then it will do things like summarization. It will do summarization well. And we are going to do some of these tests with a pre-trained model. We are going to see if it is able to classify. You see that it actually struggles with classification. But after we have fine-tuned it, you see that it will actually classify as well. It will not be able to summarize well, the pre-trained one, but after this second phase of training, it will be able to summarize. Translation is another one that you can do here. So there are two phases. There are two phases. So this first phase is what is called pre-training. So this is the pre-training phase, and then this is called the fine-tuning phase. Why would anyone be considering these two? It's because sometimes, or why would we want to learn about this? Sometimes you want to create your own model because maybe it performs better than the general models. So the ones that we get from ChatGPT and all of that and OpenAI, those are general models. But maybe on the use case that you're working on, you want a specialized model that performs very, very well. Um, that performs very, very well there in your particular task. Maybe your task is in banking and you want your model to understand finance better than these general models. Like, for example, Bloomberg GPT, when it came out, right now it's not really state of the art anymore. But when Bloomberg GPT came out, it was incredible. It was performing better than the general models that were coming out, that were just general in text. So these focused models, and there are many that are focused on medicine, focused on different areas, science, and all of that. Or some of them are going to be the small models. You can do small models. Some of them are going to be deployed locally, local deployment. So you want your own bespoke model to be deployed locally. So that's why learning about training and fine tuning it will give you that skill set to create your own special model that you want. Um, this pre-trained model, I just said it's pre-trained LLM, but it's also what is called a foundation, a foundation model. So every time you hear someone say, "Oh, there's a new foundation model," it's because it is at this stage. It has been released. The weights have been released at that stage. That's the checkpoint where it is. Um, and an example of this model is it is the GPT-3 model from OpenAI, the one that came before ChatGPT, because the ChatGPT model was now using 3.5, but there was a base model, a GPT-3 model. So this GPT-3 model was a foundation model, and then for them to create the ChatGPT, for them to create ChatGPT, which was using at the time 3.5, which is a GPT 3.5, they did this phase here to create this. So you can do that as well. You can definitely do that as well. And we are going to see how that is done. In this fine tuning phase, there are two types of fine tuning. Two main types of fine tuning. It's going to be your classification fine tuning and your instruction fine tuning. For instruction fine tuning, we give it a labeled data set which is instructions. It will have an instruction and an answer. Instruction and an answer in that as a query. That's the data that we're going to give it. Instruction and then the answer. In the classification phase, in the classification, if you're doing fine tuning for classification, the labeled data set will consist of text and the associated class label. So, for example, it could be emails. We'll give it text of an email, and then we'll say this email is spam. And that's an example that we're going to use in this course. We'll give it text of an email, and then it will be classified as spam or ham. Ham just representing no spam. So you can just say no spam. And then we'll fine tune the model like that. So that's what we are going to do when we get to that phase of fine tuning. We're just laying the groundwork. In the next video, we are going to briefly touch on the transformer architecture itself. Why are these models so good? It is because of the architecture, which is called the transformer. So we'll briefly touch on the transformer architecture.